A person may be appointed as the governor for any number of terms. Two conventions have been set up in the matter of appointing a person as governor of state. He should not be a resident of the state concerned. The state government concerned is consulted and its views are sought regarding the proposed choice. He is Governor of Tamil Nadu, Mr. Banwarilal Rohit. Qualification. He should be a citizen of India. He must have completed 35 years of age. He should not be a member of parliament or of state legislature. If he is a member of any state legislature, he automatically vacates his seat and assumes the office. While he is taking power, assuming office, he has to vacate his previous seat. He should not hold any other profitable occupation. Now Tamil Sai is appointed as a governor of Andhra Pradesh and also Pondicherry, isn't it? We all know that. Powers and functions of a governor. The governor can exercise the following powers. They are executive, legislature, financial, discretion and emergency powers. Executive powers. He appoints the leader of the majority party in the state legislative assembly as the chief minister of the state. He appoints other members of the council of ministers on the recommendation of the chief minister. And he also appoints a chairman, the chairman and members of the State Public Service Commission. He appoints the State Election Commissioner and determines his condition of service and tenure of office. He acts as the Chancellor of Universities in the state. He also appoints the Vice Chancellors of Universities in the state. He directly rules a state when there is an imposition of the President's rule in the state. Okay, he directly rules a state when there is the imposition of President's rule in the state. And then legislative powers. The governor enjoys the following legislative powers and functions. He has the right to summon, prorogue the state legislature and dissolve the state legislative assembly. He can address the state legislature at the commencement of the first session, after each general election and the first session of each year. He can send messages to the houses of the state legislature relating to a bill pending in the legislature. If any bill is pending in the legislature, governor immediately send messages of the houses. He can appoint any member of the legislative assembly to preside over its proceedings when the offices of both the speaker and the deputy speaker fall vacant. He can nominate one member to the state legislative assembly from the Anglo-Indian community. And then he nominates 1/6 of the members of the state legislative council from among the persons having special knowledge or practical experience in literature, science, art, cooperative movement and social service. If they specialized in any skill, literature, science, art, cooperative movement and social service, like that persons he appointed. He nominate 1/6 of the member of the state legislative council. And then every bill passed by the state legislature will become law only after his signature. But when a bill is sent to the governor after it is passed by the legislature, he has the options to give his assent to the bill or withhold his assent to the bill or return the bill for the reconsideration of the legislature. He can promulgate ordinances when the state legislature is not in session under Article 213. But these ordinances must be approved by the legislature within 6 months. He can also withdraw an ordinance at any time. Ordinance means law. He can also withdraw an law at any time. He has to lay the annual reports of the State Finance Commission, the State Public Service Commission, and the Controller and Auditor General relating to the accounts of the state before the state legislature. Financial powers. The annual budget and the supplementary budgets are introduced by the governor. Money bills can be introduced in the Legislative Assembly only with this prior recommendation. He can make advances out of the state contingency fund to meet any unforeseen expenditure. He constitutes a finance commission after every 5 years to review the financial position of the panchayats and the municipalities. Then judicial powers. He appoints the Attorney General of the state. He makes appointment, postings and promotions of the district judges in consultation with the State High Court. The Chief Justice of the High Court in the state is appointed by the President in consultation with him. He can pardon, commute or reprieve punishment on receipt of appeals for mercy except death sentence. And then discretionary powers. The governor can reserve a bill for the consideration of the president. He can call the leader of any party to form ministry in the state when there is no clear-cut majority to any party in the Legislative Assembly after the general election. The general election is over. Which party is getting majority seats, own majority, that party leader called to form the party. But no majority means, no clear-cut majority to any party means, the governor only called the leader. He can call the leader of any party to form ministry when there is no clear-cut majority. Okay. He can dismiss the Council of Ministers when it is unable to prove the confidence of the Legislative Assembly. Emergency powers. If the governor is satisfied that the government of the state is not carried on in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution, he may, under Article 356, recommend to the President to impose President rule in the state. As soon as President rule is imposed, the administration of the state is carried on by the governor as the representative of the state. Okay, if the governor is not satisfied, the state government is not working properly, under the Article 356, he introduced President rule in the state. Okay. We all understand, children? As soon as the President rule is imposed, the administration of the state carried on by the governor as the representative of the President. Then privileges of the governor. Article 36, 361, bar 1 provides the following privileges for the governor. The governor of the state is not be answerable to any court for the exercises and performance of the powers and duties of his office, or for any act done or purporting to be done by him in the exercise and performance of those powers and duties. no process for the arrest or imprisonment of the governor of a state shall issue from any court during his term of office. Chief Minister. Chief Minister in the scheme of parliamentary system of government provided by the Constitution, the governor is the nominal executive authority and chief minister is the real executive authority. The governor is the head of the state while the chief minister is the head of the government. Now who is our chief minister? Mr. Stalin is ex-president, ex-chief minister, Mr. Edapadi Palanisamy, ex-chief minister. Now who is the chief minister? Mr. Stalin. He is the chief minister of Puducherry, Mr. Narayanasamy. Here is the list of all 30 chief ministers of India. Appointment of the chief minister. How the chief minister was appointed? Chief minister was appointed by the governor of the state. After the election is over, governor called the majority party who won in election. Majority party leader. He called the majority party leader to form the ministry. The term of the chief minister is not fixed. He may remain as the chief minister as long as he enjoys the support of the majority of the members of the legislative assembly. He has to resign when he loses confidence of the majority in the assembly. Normally, he completes 5 years term like other members in the legislative assembly. Relating to the Council of Ministers, the Chief Minister recommends the persons who can be appointed as ministers by governor. The Chief Minister, when after the election is over, majority party leader will be the Chief Minister. He only allocates the portfolios. For the ministers. He allocates the portfolios among the ministers and governor will shuffle and reshuffles his ministry. He presides over the meetings of the Council of Ministers and influences its decision. He guides, directs, controls and coordinates the activities of all the ministers. Relating to the governor, he advises the governor in relation to the appointment of the following officials. With the advice of the governor, they will appoint Advocate General of the state, State Election Commissioner, Chairman and members of the State Public Service Commission, Chairman and members of the State Planning Commission, Chairman and members of the State Finance Commission. Relating to state legislature, the Chief Minister advises the governor with regard to the summoning or proroguing the sessions of the state legislature. Chief Minister only advises when the sessions are going. He announces the government policies on the floor of the house. He can introduce the bills in the legislative assembly. He can recommend for the dissolution of the legislative assembly to the governor at any time. Council of Ministers. The Council of Ministers are collectively responsible to the state legislature. All the members of the Council of Ministers must be the member of the state legislature. Those who are not the members at the time of their appointment must secure their seats in the legislature within a period of 6 months. If a no confidence motion is passed by the legislative assembly, the state ministry shall resign. நோ கான்ஃபிடென்ஸ் மோஷன் நன்னம்பிக்கையில்லா தீர்மானம் மினிஸ்டர் மேலே கொண்டு வரும்போது சீஃப் மினிஸ்டர் மேலே the state ministry, whole ministry has to resign. According to Article 163/1, there shall be a council of ministers with the chief minister as the head to aid and advise the governor in exercise of his functions. Other provisions relating to ministers. Article 164 holds that the chief minister shall be appointed by the governor. Article 164/1A states that the total number of ministers, including the chief minister, in the council of ministers in a state shall not exceed 15% of the total members of the legislative assembly. Then the functions and powers of the Council of Ministers. It formulates and decides the policies of the state and implements them effectively. It decides legislative programs of the Legislative Assembly and sponsors all important bills. It controls the financial policy and decides the tax structure for the public welfare of the state. It makes the important appointment of the heads of departments. It discusses and takes efforts on the dispute with other states. It frames the proposal for incurring expenditure out of state reserves. It decides all the bills, whether ordinary bill or money bills, to be introduced in the Legislative Assembly. Each minister of the Council of Ministers supervises, controls, and coordinates the department concerned. Every minister for a department, no? So each minister of the Council of Ministers supervises, controls, and coordinates the department concerned. Financial statement, called as budget, is finalized by the Council of Ministers. Then the state legislature. The constitution provides legislature for every state. Most of the states have only unicameral legislature. Example, legislative assembly. Unicameral means only single house, legislative assembly. Bicameral means two houses. Some state has bicameral legislature. Bihar, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh, and Telangana. In these states, they are having two houses. So, bicameral legislature. The lower house, Legislative Assembly, represents the people of the state. The upper house, Legislative Council, represents special interests like teachers, graduates, and local governments. Legislature, unicameral, bicameral. Uni means single house, bicameral means two houses. Unicameral, Legislative Assembly, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, and Odisha. In bicameral, Legislative Council and Legislative Assembly, Bihar, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh, and Telangana. All the states are two houses. Represent teachers, graduates, and local government. Unicameral, representatives of the state. Tamil Nadu Legislative Assembly. This is everyone will know. Okay. In Tamil Nadu, according to the strength of the Legislative Assembly, there are 234 members. 234 members in our Tamil Nadu Legislative Assembly. Legislative Assembly, lower house. The Legislative Assembly is a popular house. It's a real center of power in the state. It consists of members directly elected by the people on the basis of adult franchise. Adult franchise means those who are attained 18 years of age, they are having voting power. They only put vote and elect the members. MLA, Member of Legislative Assembly. We are electing MLA, no? Through elections. The strength of the assembly varies from state to state depending on the population. However, the maximum strength of the assembly must not exceed 500 or its minimum strength not be below 60. The term of office of the Legislative Assembly is 5 years. The size of the Legislative Council cannot be more than 1/3 of the member of the Legislative Assembly of the state. But size cannot be less than 40. Composition. The Legislative Assembly of Tamil Nadu consists of 235 members. Out of this, 234 members are directly elected by the people from the constituencies on the basis of adult franchise, and one member is nominated by the governor from the Anglo-Indian community. Okay. Now we all understand how many members in Tamil Nadu Legislative Assembly? 235 members. Out of 235, 234 will be elected through election, and one member nominated by the governor from the Anglo-Indian community. Have you all understand, children? Composition. Tamil Nadu state, total number of legislative members 235, elected members 234, nominated one by governor from Anglo-Indian community. Cabinet and cabinet committees. A smaller body called cabinet is the nucleus of the Council of Ministers. It consists of only the cabinet ministers. It's a real center of authority in the state government. The cabinet works through various committees called cabinet committees. There are two types, standing and ad hoc. The former of a permanent nature, while the latter of the temporary nature. Okay, standing வந்து permanent nature, ad hoc means temporary in nature. Cabinet and cabinet committees. Senior and most important ministries are called cabinet ministers. Cabinet, council of ministers. Standing, ad hoc. Standing means permanent members, ad hoc means temporary members. Have you all understood? Then the speaker of the Lok Sabha. The Legislative Assembly elects two of its members as the speaker and deputy speaker. The speaker may be removed from office by the resolution of the assembly after giving a 14 days notice. Such a resolution must be passed by majority of the members present at the time of voting. The speaker does not vacate his office when the assembly is dissolved. He continues to be the speaker until the first sitting of the new assembly. While the office of the speaker is vacant, the deputy speaker performed his functions.